Welcome back to React Native Radio Podcast. Brought to you by us. It's been a while. We're back. Rejoice. Episode 243, We React to News.
I'm really excited because I'm going to actually get to see both of you in person next week, which is going to be really fun.
Yay. In 3D. I have never met Mazen in 3D.
Yeah.
Is that true?
That's true.
Well, I mean, you were at Chain React though, Mazen, right?
Correct. But I don't think
I don't think I met you.
I don't think I met Robin.
Okay.
Maybe in passing.
I was not so much with the mingling and the networking.
That's totally, that kind of surprises me, Robin. You're such a social butterfly. Yeah, so that'll be fun. And the reason actually is because Robin, you weren't there last.
I was not at the
time
last.
We had an all-team retreat.
That's right. It was last fall. I was on maternity leave.
Yeah. So we'll get a chance to see each other, hopefully. Illnesses willing.
Yes.
And flight delays willing.
Flight
oh my
delays.
gosh, yeah.
Oh, man.
I hope no one gets stranded in an airport on their way.
Right. Yeah, no kidding.
I won't mention the name of the city, but I would be stuck in a city I would not want to.
Now,
well,
I don't.
Now everybody's...
Oh, Detroit. I've only flown through Detroit once, and the thing that stuck with me was I got dropped off at the end of this one terminal, and I could see it was so long that they had to account for the curvature of the earth just about. It was ridiculous. And I had to run all the way to the other end it was 20-minute, what do you call that? Standby? No, sorry. 20-minute layover. Yeah, thank you. I can't think today. And I barely made it to the other terminal. They were just finishing up. It was weird. Such a long terminal.
I've never had good experiences at Detroit and Houston, actually, for that matter.
Yeah.
But both have been coming to the country from an international flight. So that may have been why.
The domestic terminal might be better.
Who knows? But as long as I make it to my final destination, that's all that matters.
Jamin and I are fortunate enough to get to drive and not have to deal with flying.
Yeah, because we're doing that here in the Portland area over at Skamania Lodge. For those of you in the Pacific Northwest, you may know where that is.
Now, see, it's okay for us to tell everyone where we'll be because by the time this comes out, it will be over. So we won't have any stalkers.
Yeah.
There'll be fans outside Skamania.
Paparazzi.
Okay,
it's fun though. I really enjoy the whole experience, and we'll have everybody for the week, and yeah, it's great.
Oh, it's so much fun. I'm so excited.
With that said, we do have a podcast to do. So I'm Jamin Holmgren, your host and friendly CTO of Infinite Red, and I'm located in the Pacific Northwest with my wife and 4 kids. I am joined by my meritorious co-hosts, Robin and Mazen.
Definition.
Robin.
Full of merit.
Heinz. Yes, full of merit. Yes. I mean, yes. It's a loaded word because it's been used in so many weird ways, but I'll just use it in the most positive way. Robin is a senior software engineer at Infinite Red. She's located west of Portland, Oregon, with her husband and 2 kids, and has specialized in React Native for the past 5 years. Also joined today by Mazen Chami, also a co-host. Mazen lives in Durham, North Carolina with his wife and newborn boy. He is a former pro soccer player and coach, which I love because then we can talk sports. And for some reason, so many devs just don't like sports. Actually, Robin, there are certain sports you like. You like college football or something. Okay.
Watching.
Yeah.
I don't play any sports.
Okay.
There's not an athletic gene pool in my family.
My daughter, my 14-year-old daughter, sorry to pause Mazen's intro here, but my 14-year-old daughter did not like any sports. And then my wife put her into a tennis camp for summer, and she loved it. She absolutely loved it. It was she said it was her favorite week ever. It was just so much fun. In fact, last night we actually set up a net on the back patio, which isn't super big, but it's probably 25 feet long by maybe 14 feet wide or something. It's, it's got some size to it. And we were batting, you don't say batting. We were racketing.
Badminton, maybe?
No, it was actually a tennis ball and tennis rackets, but across a net.
I think they call that a rally.
Rallying. Okay, we were rallying last night. It was really fun. She did hurt her wrist at the last day, so it's been slowly healing. But yeah, she just loved it, and she's never done any like sports before. So yeah, that was kind of cool.
I see.
Anyway.
I did play tennis, and
You
I
did? Okay.
enjoyed
Did you
it,
like it?
but I just wasn't good at it. And so when I tried to be on the tennis team, they're like, "You can hang out with us and condition with us if you want, but we won't let you play any matches because you're not good enough."
Yeah, see, that's at our high school, and this is actually one of the cool things. They have a no cut team, so if she tries out, she'll make it, and so
That's
she'll
nice.
get a chance.
I feel
to
like
actually
that's
play.
so important for. I really hate how much high school sports like demoralize kids.
There are a lot of people who are like, yeah, like kids are being coddled and they need the competition
Participation
stuff.
trophies.
Yeah, and I get like some of that. Like I probably even said it myself to some degree, but you know what? At certain ages, it's actually more important that they get the experience than that we filter out the weak. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that can happen later, like when they go try out for the college team like I did and get cut.
Believe it or not, being part of the team and learning teamwork skills and like participating is more important than maybe winning all the things. Anyway, that's a whole can of worms.
Mazen, what do you think? You've played at a very high level. I
totally agree with that.
Okay.
I do think that maybe, you could pick maybe high school specifically where that should be the case because, again, everyone's, you're in school with friends and all that kind of stuff. So high school would be great for that environment. And if someone really wants to take it to the next level, there's always the opportunity to play travel or club, whatever it's called, in your area. So I think I'm totally for it. And I see a lot of like high schools specifically like trying to be over the top with it, and they're just kind of they're messing with the kids a lot, in my opinion.
Yeah, I feel like so many people who played like high school athletics, especially in the US, but probably abroad as well, they have these horror stories of coaches who just were like, I mean, I don't know. I have stories myself, like from high school where they would just make decisions that were anti-kid, pro them, basically.
I was very fortunate. My high school coach was one of the primary reasons where like I got to where I was in my career. So I got lucky in that regard, and he had the same mentality also.
And that was in Nigeria?
Correct. Yeah, he was actually an American PE teacher from Charlotte, North Carolina.
Really? Not far from where you are now.
Nope.
Which leads me back into your bio.
Yeah.
Mazen is a senior React Native engineer over in North Carolina, also here at Infinite Red. I honestly would talk about this like the whole podcast, but we do still have a show to make here. Sorry, Mazen.
No, you're good.
Cut you off on that.
20 minutes later.
I know. This episode is sponsored by Infinite Red. Just go to infinite.red/React Native. I'm going to skip all that because, like we got to get moving. We know, infinite.red. Let's get into our topic. We are actually doing a We React to News episode, which we haven't done in a while.
No, it's been a while. So there's been a lot of news.
There has. So we're going to have to probably, we're only going to get to a few of these things. So there's a whole big list, but we'll give it our best. So what is the biggest news, Robin, that has come out in your opinion?
Well, I've heard buzz pretty much everywhere. Everyone's talking about a new package from Shopify called FlashList. Which is a performant alternative to FlatList, which is native, like React Native Core. And everyone is just like buzzing about it, super excited because it's supposed to speed up your lists enormously.
It's kind of a drop-in replacement, right? Like you can kind of swap it out with just minimal changes.
Right. There's a few things that are different or missing that they acknowledge in the documentation. But for the most part, it's a drop-in replacement. It's
also kind of a little bit harder than a drop-in replacement for section list also.
Yeah.
It's doable. There's a little bit of a couple caveats.
One of our devs just did it successfully.
Correct. Yeah.
Last week.
It's possible. You just might have to dig into the documentation a little bit deeper.
They have a section in their documentation now about how to implement section list. I think there's a guide. I don't know if it's new.
Based on the pictures, based on the GIFs, or GIFs, however you say it, of what it looks like, this is very exciting because I've actually on the same project, you and I worked on.
Mm-hmm. They have a lot of trouble with their lists.
Yeah. And that was something we spent a long time trying to troubleshoot and fix.
And there's only so much you can tweak.
Exactly.
There's so many levers you can pull.
Mm-hmm. It was like we would try and pretend when they were like 4 or 5 pages away from the bottom to then fetch and reload, and that caused issues.
Mm-hmm. Which, I mean, you just introduce more problems because you're like, are you optimizing for the amount of cells that it's rendering ahead of time? But then those trigger more network requests, which make it slow again. And so it was a double-edged sword at the end of the day. And this just seems like a great replacement for all that kind of stuff. Based on the examples in the README of what it looks like, it looks phenomenal. Just like endless scrolling with no gaps.
Yeah, that's fantastic. It's kind of about time that we got a improvement. I think way back in the day, and I don't know if either of you used the predecessor to FlashList, which was ListView.
I did use ListView on my first project.
Yeah, which obviously it had its own limitations. That was pretty rough. And I feel like it's probably a testament to FlashList's API that they kept the same API.
Yeah, it's a good API that we found like what works.
Yeah, and people are used to it and they're fine with it. Like there's nothing wrong with it. Just use the same API, but make it fast.
I feel like if we had this podcast, then we would be announcing FlashList the same way. We're announcing
we
probably
are you tired of using ListView?
Yep.
Like FlashList was a huge innovation when it first came out. It was very exciting.
So I wonder if the React Native side of things, if they're going to maybe take some lessons from FlashList and bring it back to FlashList. That's an interesting topic. I don't know. It's just kind of like how I'm reacting. We are planning, and we're actually in talks with Shopify to get a guest on here to talk about FlashList. So I'm excited to go into that at some point.
Yeah.
One other thing to note about it is it's built with reanimated and gesture handler. So packages we've highlighted and actually spoken with the people that are working on it. And that's great to see that's in there. And if you click on, I think we're going to add it to the show notes, like a tweet that kind of shows how you can use them together and has a really cool feel of you're scrolling through a list, you click on something, it animates the page, and then you kind of swipe it away. If you've used
I'm looking at it right now, and I agree. Like
if you've used the Etsy app, it's very similar to the Etsy app where you can do that kind of stuff. So I know Etsy is built in native. So yeah, that's a pretty cool thing to highlight. An open source package is using other open source packages to bring you a very optimized and highly performant experience.
Yeah.
And that's probably why it won't come back to FlashList is because, like Shopify is free to kind of select from third-party libraries where the core kind of has to stay core.
Yeah. Which is, it's kind of sad that that's true. Yeah. But I understand that there's only so much the core team can build into React Native Core.
So moving to our next thing.
Just a quick thought on that. Maybe this would now introduce FlashList and all these other lists to move into the community. So kind of the lean core initiative to keep React Native a little bit leaner so that as a developer, we can choose between FlashList or FlashList. So
it's true.
Just something I was thinking about where if this initiative, more packages kind of came out to improve the core React Native, would then React Native go even leaner by pulling out some of this stuff to then give you the ability to come and go? Because, now we're talking about packages that have all of React Native that has FlashList and FlashList. Sorry, FlashList and Section List. And then now we're adding in another package when in turn we could get rid of FlashList and Section List for that. Although they might be a dependency for each other. I did not look into that.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Moving to our next thing on our list, our friends over at Callstack released Reassure. And so I'm kind of excited about this one because it combines two things that are very necessary for quality apps, testing and performance metrics. So that's pretty cool. They have a cool website about it. You can go to callstack.com/open-source/reassure. Robin, what's this all about? You looked into this.
So Reassure is a automated performance testing library, specifically regression testing. So it measures the average rendering time of the components in your app or the ones that you set up tests for, and then checks those for regressions each time you run the tests. It's compatible with CI, and it's the first, it seems pretty innovative. It's the first time I've ever seen performance-specific regression, like automated regression tests. Callstack developed it for a client who then agreed to let them open source it. The client was called Entane, not someone I've heard of, but so they're partnering with them on it.
Yeah, that's really cool.
So it was built for a real world application, and now they're sharing it with all of us.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love doing that with our clients when we get a chance to open source stuff. Because like Ignite actually came out of 2 projects where we were kind of piloting the stack, and we had two clients. So it's really cool. You essentially like set up. I'm looking at the code example now. You set up a scenario which is just, it's stuff like get a button, find like a text label, fire a couple of events pressing the button, and then you check that text label to see if it changed the count. And then you can run this measure performance function on a component, and you can run it multiple times. So you can run it like 20 times to run that scenario. And then it would average that out and let you know if at the end of the day your component got slower.
I will note that it works on top of Jest and React Native testing library. So you have to have both of those set up in order for this to do its thing, because it's basically setting up a React Native testing library test or event and then measures the performance of that render. So you have to have both of those in your app.
So is this almost like a different way of comparing what we talked about in the past of the flame graph in Flipper?
Yeah.
But I'm assuming more quote unquote stats based.
Probably. I'm not sure how it works under the hood, obviously, but I mean, the flame graph is based on like milliseconds of render time per component or like tree
scene
node.
Tree,
yeah. So I'm guessing this is using that.
And this is only JavaScript. This won't do any real rendering. Just like React Native testing library, it'll just run the component.
Right. You'll have to mock anything that's native.
So it won't catch everything that's performance related, but it will catch like issues with your logic that introduce a lot of slowness.
That's cool.
All right, then we have React Native Keyboard Controller. This let's see, who's the author on this one?
Yeah, this might be hard to pronounce. His name is
Kirill
Zuski.
Zusko.
From
Yeah,
Tbilisi, Georgia.
Okay, that's cool. So what, Mazen, you looked into this one. What is React Native Keyboard Controller?
Yeah, so this is a package that pretty much works identically for iOS and Android. I've had a lot of issues in the past with keyboard management in general, and it's just thrown a lot of issues. So this is a nice, concise package that kind of puts them all together and makes sure that their appearance is all good. And again, he's using reanimated, so that's where this theme of reanimated keeps popping up.
Yeah, no kidding.
The events, keyboard will show and keyboard will hide, are available on Android. They're in the past they weren't available there, so it kind of exposes it on all platforms. So it makes it real good to handle that. So again, we're offsetting the logic and handling of our keyboard to this third-party library to basically make it all concise and in one spot for us. And yeah, and it has some good documentation on how to use it, and it's very straightforward. Yeah,
this looks really good, and it's something I think we've needed for a long time, because keyboard always seems to be I put out a tweet, like terrify a React Native developer in five words, and there were a few that mentioned keyboard avoiding
scroll view.
Yeah,
exactly. This eliminates all that, which is great. And then he handles all the like quote unquote edge cases that you see in the React Native docs for Android, like window soft input mode, adjust resize, and all that kind of stuff are all handled. So that's great.
Yeah, nice work by Kirill on this, and it looks like he just released it. Released it a few days ago, which is awesome. So go check that out. React Native Keyboard Controller. We'll put a link in the show notes as well. Our friends over at Formidable came up with a thing called React Native Zephyr, and it is a Tailwind CSS-inspired styling library for React Native. And they kind of mentioned that Tailwind is really more built for the browser, and so it's
very CSS-based.
Right, and so they kind of like take some of the ideas of Tailwind but then bring in React Native experience to do something more React Native focused. So what do you think of this, Robin? I know you looked at
I think
this
it looks really cool. It's very different than anything I've ever used. But like looking at the examples, it seems really really full featured, really straightforward to implement, and it takes care of a lot of the styling and theming boilerplate that you have to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you install this package and then you just like right off the bat, you have things like light mode and dark mode. You can just sort of add these classes to your components for really common things. Like you can add a Flex 1 class, a Justify Center class without having to define those styles over and over again for every component. I know most of our apps have like 100 different style sheets that have container Flex 1.
Yeah.
So you can add them as classes, which seems really helpful, really handy. So yeah, I'd be curious to use it on something and see how it looks. But yeah, it looks really cool.
It's also type safe, so there's a lot of IntelliSense there, which is really, really cool.
Yeah, that's very helpful. I mean, it's nice to be able to just like start typing and it'll show you everything that's available to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're using template literals from TypeScript on that, which is a really cool thing. I've been seeing some stuff on Twitter about that. Played with it a little bit, but it allows you to have more than just, hey, this is a string, or hey, here's a predefined set of strings. It's like you can kind of compose strings, which is cool. Awesome. Yeah, good work from Formidable over there on that. We also saw another thing from Formidable, which I think is really cool. They're coming up with some cool stuff lately. And I actually had one of the creators of this come on my live stream, rn.live, the other day. But it is React Native OWL. And that is visual regression testing. Mazen, what's the big deal with React Native OWL?
It's really cool end-to-end testing, automated framework testing. Think Detox, just much, in my opinion, much cooler and kind of handles everything very seamlessly.
So it seems like, is it a combination of like Detox testing and Storybooks like snapshot testing? Sort
of, yeah. So basically, and I had this when we were doing Ruby Motion back in the day. There was a thing called Motion Juxtapose, which did almost exactly the same thing. In fact, I gave him some ideas during our stream on stuff he could do based on Motion Juxtapose. But essentially, it will it will create screenshots at certain points as you're kind of going through your app. And then it will diff them and it will look for changes, like, problems, or maybe not problems, but like changes. And then it will, if everything looks like it lines up, like between the last time it ran it and now, it will pass. If there are some changes, it will generate a diff image and show you, like, it'll create like this HTML document where you can go look at it, and it'll have, like, on the left, it'll have the previous image, and the next, it'll show you the new image, and then it'll show you the diff image, so you can see, like,
literally snapshots. Because Storybook snapshots are like code diffs, basically.
Yeah.
Like they take the tree, like the rendered tree, and compare it, but it's just comparing code.
This is visual.
Whereas this is literally taking screenshots. That's cool.
It's more useful than the snapshot test because, like, you could actually refactor your JSX and still end up with the same result.
Yeah, that was one of the frustrating things about Storybook is that if you change like the structure or like that, if you rearrange the white space or something,
now it
fails. But this is actually looking at the end. It's a true integration test.
And if you're like too lazy to write like a good, full suite of tests, I really like visual regression testing because it's sort of it's like a smoke test. Like, if you can get to the screen and show what you're seeing there, something must have gone right. Like, it seems like it.
I wonder how brittle it could be.
We're gonna have to find out because I really want to use it on a project. I loved using Motion Juxtapose back in the day. That was like my go-to tool for testing, really. And I want to use it in a future thing. They have some other ideas that they're coming out with. They're still developing it, but I gotta say, like, when I did the React Native Live with Rob Walker, who's one of the creators of React Native OWL, it just blew my mind. It was awesome. Go check it out. We'll put the link in the show notes to the YouTube recording of that live stream. But it was a lot of fun, and they have a lot of ideas. They're going to continue to push this forward.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Is this very similar to Percy? Percy was actually announced at Chain React, the one I attended, which is kind of
visual testing as a service.
Yeah. I briefly remember, I believe it was Carly.
When you Google it, the only thing that comes up is the talk at Chain React.
Chain React.
There is Percy.io.
Yeah. I was there. If
Yes.
I Google React Native Percy.
Yeah. I'm curious if they still support it or not.
What I briefly remember, there's V2 that just came out, it looks like, recently. But what it sounds like is you can tie this to your CI/CD pipeline, and it'll run the tests for you and get back to you on if it passed or not.
It probably is similar. I kind of forgot about Percy, to be completely honest.
I mean, from their docs, it looks like React Native isn't their focus anymore. It's just React.js.
Yeah. I remember her saying that it was React.js specific, and that her and someone else that was working on it were creating a React Native Percy package to be handled. Now, again, I'm thinking this was 2019.
This was like 3 years ago.
So who knows if they actually got around to finishing that React Native Percy package.
Now, one cool thing about visual regression testing as well that we actually found out on stream is that the images that it generates, if you accept them, if you accept the image change, like you can update the snapshot, when you do a pull request, it will show you the before and after of the visual.
Which is
it's
really
basically
cool.
doing your screenshots for you. Yeah. So you can go look in the diff, in the file diff, and you can actually see images and like, oh, before it was this, after it's this.
Well, and like GitHub will show it to you as an image and not just like a bunch of code diffs.
And that would be really cool to see the evolution of your app as you're evolving and creating new screens.
Yeah, it would be like breadcrumbs to see how your app has changed. It's really cool in a lot of ways.
Jamin, side note, we should integrate this into Ignite right now, and then when the new version of Ignite comes out, we see how we've evolved.
Spoilers, we have a new version of Ignite coming. No, it's true. And I mean, we only integrate things into Ignite when if we've tried it out on a project and it works really well. But I want to get to that point with Ignite. I want to get to that point with React Native.
We'll be starting a couple new projects, or I guess we did just start one, but we'll be starting a new one here pretty soon.
Yep. Looking forward to maybe getting some of the stuff in there. Lastly, and I want to get to this one as well, we have a new library from one of our own, from Infinite Red.
Yeah.
Infinite Red's Leon Kim, who is, I don't know, he's worked with us for 8-9 years, something like that. So Leon's an awesome guy. And he released React Native Perspective Correction Image View. So it's an image view component.
A bunch of math, because he's really smart.
It is true. It's an image view component that corrects a distorted image with its corner points.
The reason for developing this library was for their project, which involved users scanning I think it was an ID or some kind of card. So they would have to scan it, and it would be maybe not totally straight or wonky. And so they would have to correct it to make it perfectly square.
I think Evernote does this in their, if you scan stuff in Evernote, it does that same thing.
Bank of America could use from this library because I feel like every time I'm taking a picture of a check, it's like, lay it flat. It is flat, but the camera isn't getting it flat. So correct it, please.
It's cool. And like Robin said, it's a lot of math. Leon has a master's degree in computer vision. So he is actually eminently qualified for this sort of thing. But I mean, really cool. Go check it out. It has 7 stars. So give it a few more stars.
I'm going to go star it right now.
Yeah, go start
it.
Okay,
I just started it. It's 8 stars now.
Nice.
9.
Yeah. So that's pretty much it for the news that has come out. There's some other stuff. I know that Expo SDK 46 is coming, and we're going to probably do an episode on that. New versions of React Native, but we've done full shows on that, so we don't need to necessarily go over that here. So that's another We React to News. If you'd like to nerd out more about React Native, you can join my Twitch stream at rn.live. You'll see cool guests like Rob come on with cool libraries. We just explore them. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. And I've been doing it mostly on Fridays now during the summer. I haven't been doing too many Mondays. Just been too busy. And you can also check out our new Twitter community, rntwitter.infinite.red. You can go to community.infinite.red for our Slack community. There are over 2,000 React Native developers in there. And you can find Robin on Twitter, Robin_Heinz. You can find Mazen at MazenChami. You can find me at Jamin Holmgren. And our show is at React Native RDIO. As always, thanks to our producer and editor, Todd Worth, our assistant editor and episode release coordinator, Jed Bartoski, our designer, Justin Husky, and our guest coordinator, Derek Greenberg. Thanks to our sponsor, Infinite Red. Check us out at infinite.red/React Native. Make sure to subscribe. We will see you all next time.
Bye.